Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com. Today we're going to be checking out this brand new 3-rail O-scale GE-840CW from Atlas. So let's start things off with a little bit of history first, and then we'll get into the Atlas model that we have here. So the GE C40-8W, which is often referred to as a -840CW, is a 6-axle diesel-electric locomotive built by GE between 1990 and 1994. The -840CW was distinguished from its predecessor, the -840C, by the addition of the wide North American safety cab. The -840CW was powered by a V16 7FDL diesel engine that delivered 4,000 horsepower. The first -840CW was delivered to the Union Pacific in 1990. In total, GE would build 756 of these engines before they were succeeded by the -944CW in 1994. CSX operated the most number of -840CWs with 375 in service. The Santa Fe, which is the road name that you see here, had 152 in service. Now, these engines are still in service today, some of them with major railroads, some of them have been sold off to leasing companies, and some have been rebuilt, but this is definitely an engine that you can still see on the roads today. Now let's talk about Atlas's rendition of the -8 that we have here. This is a brand new model. Atlas just shipped these not too long ago here in 2018. Atlas has released this model under their Trainman product line, and the purpose of the Trainman product line is to give you quality O-scale models at an affordable price. And so that, of course, means it has a little less detailing than something from their master line, but it's still very nice. As you can see, this is a great looking model, and the price is very reasonable, as you'll see at the end of this video. Now, these models come in both 3-rail and 2-rail configurations. On the 3-rail side, you can buy this as a conventionally powered engine, or you can buy it with TMCC and rail sounds, and that's what I have here. On the 2-rail side, you can buy it as a DCC ready model, or you can buy the Gold Edition that has DCC on board, oscillating ditch lights, and sound. Atlas has made this model available in 4 different road names. There's Santa Fe, like we have here, there's BNSF with a swoosh logo, there's CSX, and then there's Union Pacific. And for each road name, I believe there are 2 road numbers. I've actually got both road numbers for Santa Fe. I've got the 804 here, and then I've also got 816. You'll see both of them in action later in this video. Stats-wise, the length of this engine is right at 17.5 inches. The weight is 5 pounds. This engine has really good pulling power, 2 pounds, 14 ounces of pulling power, and the minimum required curve needed to operate this engine is 0.36. So this model is actually very friendly to layouts with tighter curves. On the inside, this engine is driven by 2 flywheel motors. There's a fan-driven smoke unit for the smokestack, and then you've got the electronics for command control and sound effects. On the sound effects side, this engine does have the improved rail sound soundboard, so you get some legacy-like sound effects. It's not quite the full legacy sound suite like you would have on a Lionel engine, but it is a vast improvement over the older Atlas sound effects. And then on the command control side, it's got TMCC, but it is also legacy compatible. When it comes time to run this engine, there are a couple methods you can use. Obviously, the preferred method is to use Lionel's TMCC command system or Lionel's legacy system. However, you can also run this engine conventionally with just a transformer and some track. However, if you just want to run this conventionally, I would save yourself some money and just buy the conventional only version of this model, because it's a couple $100 cheaper than the command control equipped version. As we go in for a closer look, here we have the pilot area, which, as you can see, looks great. We've got a plow attachment that is on the model out of the box. You can see we've got some nice details on top of the plow. Behind the plow, there are some nice hose details and a separately attached coupler cut bar. Above that, we've got operating ditch lights. And then right here in the middle is the electro coupler that can be thrown from your legacy or TMCC remote. Moving up from there, man, this looks great. I love the Santa Fe paint scheme. We've got these great looking yellow handrails, and we've got a metal safety chain in the middle. The walkways all have safety tread. We've got lots of separately applied grab irons going on all over the place. We've got a nice looking door. It doesn't open, but it's still very nicely detailed. There's an operating headlight here in the middle. Up on the windows, we've got separately applied windshield wipers, and then above that, we've got lighted number boards. As we turn the corner, here we have some nicely detailed die-cast metal truck side frames. There's a legible builder's plate here in the corner. We've got some legible signage here and elsewhere on the model that you'll see in just a minute. We've got some nice molded in details all over the place. The paint job, by the way, is perfect. I couldn't find any issues. All of the windows on the cab have clear plastic inserts in them. There's a little windscreen right here, and there's one on the other side as well. Now, on the inside of the cab, it's a bit Spartan. There are no crew figures, there's no control panel, and there is no interior lighting. But that's okay, because this is a Trainman model, and the purpose of the Trainman line is to make affordable O-scale models, and so in order to do that, they have to cut back on some of the higher end details that you might find on more expensive models. As you can see, they really didn't cut back on the outside of the model, which is where it really counts. This has great detailing on the outside, so to save a few bucks, they cut back on the inside, which in my opinion is a fair trade. Okay, this is really cool. I actually have to do a retraction. A minute ago, I told you that these windshield wipers were separately applied, but upon closer inspection, I can now see that they're not. They're actually molded into the windshields. It's all one piece. But they did such a good job painting these wipers that you can hardly tell that they're molded into the windshields. They look like they're separately applied. This was really smart cost cutting on Atlas's part. They probably saved a few bucks by not having separately applied windshield wipers. That allowed them to keep the cost of the model down, but yet they did such a great job painting these molded in wipers that they look like the real thing, and only upon a really close inspection can you tell that they're not separately applied. Anyway, moving on, here in the middle, we've got a die-cast metal fuel tank with some add-on plastic air tanks. We've got some hand-painted details here. We've got nice handrail action going on. And then look at all this great signage all over the place. And again, this is smart cost-cutting by Atlas. They cut back on the interior of the cab. They cut back on the add-on windshield wipers, but they didn't cut back on the signage. And this is the kind of stuff that makes this model look like a high-priced fancy model, even though it's not. Here toward the back, you can see some of these vents that they have in the engine. Now, these are not real see-through vents like you would have on a high-end model. They're molded into the plastic, but they're deeply recessed, so they look great. On the back, we've got the rear pilot, which is exactly the same as the front pilot, except without that plow attachment that they've got up front. You can see what's behind that plow on the pilot. And then up here, we've got some add-on metal grab irons and an operating backup light. Here's a look at the top of the engine. We've got an add-on grab iron here, but other than that, everything else is pretty much molded into the body, but we've still got lots of legible signage up here, which looks great. Here in the middle, we've got a nice add-on plastic horn, and then here's the smokestack, and there is an operating smoke unit down in there, and of course, to load smoke fluid into the smoke unit, you simply pour the smoke fluid directly down the stack. And then back here, again, lots of molded in detailing, but it looks very nice. And then we've got a little add-on grab iron back here. Here's a look at the underside of this engine. We've got 2 pickup rollers, 1 per truck. There are 2 traction tires on the inner axle of each truck for a total of 4. All the wheels on each of these trucks are driven. And then right here in the middle is the speaker for the sound system. All right, the last thing we're going to do before we start this thing up is BFIMO, best feature in my opinion. Well, in my opinion, the best feature on this Dash 8 is all of this great signage all over the place. I pointed this out earlier, and I just want to reiterate, it's a really smart choice on Atlas's part. You know, this is a budget-conscious model. That's what the Trainman line is all about. But like I said earlier, by putting all of this great signage all over the place, it makes it look like a high-end model. All right, now comes the fun part. We're going to run these things. Now, you'll notice in the lead, I've got number 816. That's the second unit that you haven't seen yet. Number 804 that you've already seen is behind 816. I've got these configured to run as a train in my Legacy remote. So let's go ahead and start them up. First up here is the horn. And here's the bell. engines do have some limited crew talk sounds, which sound better than older Atlas models, so let's check those out.
How's that track look? Are we clear? Over. Affirmative, the track is yours. Over. Roger that. All clear. Out. Dispatcher here. You're cleared onto the main. Over. Roger that. All clear. Out. How's that track look? Are we clear? Over. Negative. Hold your position. Over. Roger that. Out. Dispatcher here. Please hold your track orders. Over. Copy that. Out.
And lastly, these engines do have multiple RPM levels, so let's check that out. Okay, I've got some freight cars behind these engines, so let's go ahead and move it out. All right, that about wraps it up for this review. As you've seen, this is an absolutely gorgeous model, and it's a pleasure to run. Now, if you're interested in purchasing one of these, like I've said, this is a very affordable model compared to the rest of the hobby. The 3-rail version of this model, if you want the conventional version, that is the non-command control version, the retail price is right at $270. If you want the command control equipped version with TMCC, the retail price is right at $430. For the 2-rail version, if you want the DCC ready version, that has a retail tag of right at $270. And for the gold version that comes with the DCC and sound and so forth, that has a retail price right at $430. Now, keep in mind, those are the retail prices. If you go through a good Atlas dealer, you'll probably be able to get a little bit of a discount off those retail prices. So if you want one of these, contact your favorite Atlas dealer today, or go to the Atlas website at shop.atlasrr.com. For now, that's it. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time. To discuss this model or any other O-Gauge trains and to meet other O-Gauge modelers, check out the O-Gauge Railroading Magazine online forum at ogrforum.ogaugerr.com.